Welcome back to We Still Like Each Other, the podcast. I'm Travis.
And I'm Stephanie.
And this is the podcast where we show that the honeymoon stage can last forever.
Forever and ever.
We back. I always feel like when we have a guest and then we come back to just us, it's a moment.
It's a moment. We're back.
We're back.
Welcome back, baby.
Welcome back.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Beer's kicking in.
Already? He took like 2 sips.
I'm a lightweight.
Oh, God.
Who knows what I'll say?
Well, I do want to say a big thank you to our previous guest, Lorraine Avila. It was such a great episode. It has sparked in our minds so many other conversations and dialogues that we want to have as we continue forward with this show. Again, if you haven't done so already, you can pre-order her latest project, Celestial Summer, at lorraineavila.com and check it out. Pre-order the book. Support young Dominican Black women writers.
Take it from me. I'm not a big reader. I think I've read one book in the past 4 years. It's a good read.
And it's a graphic novel. It's a comic book, an adult comic book that's sexy, that's funny.
I might even go further and say it's a good read with your partner.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you play one part, they play the other part.
I feel like it could set the mood. So
you might want to pause and do some things.
Recreate some scenes.
No, it's really good.
Yeah. All right. So how was your week, baby?
It was a good week. With some highlights. Our second episode of Guys Next Door with Mouse and Mikkel C. Clark.
Yes.
Put some respect on his name.
Put some respect on his name.
That was fun and a surprise.
Yeah.
Because we were only expecting to do one episode and Mouse asked us to stick around for a second.
And it was amazing because meeting Mikkel was like an honor.
I honestly was like, oh, Mouse brought his cousin. I had no idea who he was. And then, yeah, awesome. Very
pleasant surprise.
For sure.
So if you haven't checked that out, you should definitely tune in. This week was also cool because we went to a birthday party. We went to a kids' party on last Sunday. And I was so close to like canceling. I was like,
I didn't know that.
How was I feeling last weekend?
That's true. But I never, even though you were, not in the best of headspaces, I never got the vibe that you didn't want to go.
Yeah, because so we went to our friend Leo and Brittany's son's birthday party, and I loved them so much that I knew I was going to show up for them. So I never made it sound like I didn't want to go, but it was like a lot of mental work to be like, all right, I'm getting out of the door today.
I'm glad we went.
Absolutely.
A few people came up to us like, I have to say, I listened to the podcast. I love you guys. And I know it's always weird for people to put themselves out there like that, but I appreciate it.
I love it. Like, if you ever see us and you listen, like, please tell us. Like, it's going to make us so happy. It's going to stroke our ego. No, but seriously, like, we aren't getting paid for this, right? So just those words are validating. Speaking of validating, most of our viewership, most of our listenership is on Apple Podcasts. So please, if you listen on Apple Podcasts and you haven't done so already, give us a 5-star review. It's as easy as just clicking on 5 stars. If you have a couple extra seconds, leave us a comment. But even if you just hit the 5 stars and save it, submit it, it means the world to us. It'll help us.
Yeah, it goes a long way in the world of podcasts. So if you have a second, pause right now.
And just hit 5 stars.
Come back.
You did it? All right.
Welcome back.
But yeah, I was saying another reason I was so happy I went, it was just being around so many parents that are like about our age with children around the age of our children. It kind of made me feel like less alone, right? And it might sound kind of stupid, like, duh, people have kids all the time. Like, duh, there are other parents. Like, your experience isn't unique. But sometimes when you're home for weeks and weeks and you aren't around other parents, it starts to feel like a little lonely.
It kind of goes, what was that thing we were talking about, like main character? Like
main character syndrome. Like you kind of start to feel like this is only happening to me.
Exactly. And then you kind of, out of your safe environment, which is your home, you put yourself out there and you say, oh, Oh, look at them with a baby. Oh, what, 8-month old? Oh, 9-month old? Oh, toddler?
And we were able to, you know, share little stories, connect, and it was really nice.
Yeah.
Then some other of our internet friends that we had met before, but just for some business, Tabitha and Pete.
Tabitha and Pete.
We hung out with them for the first time, like actually just hanging out, and we had an amazing time. Like,
yeah, really amazing time.
We were talking and talking for hours, and it was just like a therapy session. We didn't even realize we needed. It was
weird. And you know, I'm thankful for this podcast because, as a lot of you know, my personality, I'm not Mr. Outgoing. It's a miracle, and I say this all the time, that I even met Stephanie. But I think because of this podcast, you all have been able to see a lot more of my personality. You get to see me dig a little deeper. So then when we meet people and they've watched episodes, they kind of feel like they've peeled back a layer of me already. So they're more open. It's not just you see the stone face and you're like
who's this man? Guy. What's wrong with him?
So Tabitha and Pete have listened and watched. So I feel like they gave me a lot more grace than a stranger would. And our conversations were so deep and they went on for hours. And
they did say the time that we did meet. So the first time we met before that, again, it was for business. Tabitha's a photographer and she did a shoot for us.
Was it
when I was like 7 months pregnant?
Maternity.
It was like a fall family shoot.
Okay.
And that day we were running late and we only had like a 25-30 minute slot, but we were running late, so it got cut short.
I think it turned into 20.
Yeah, and we were kind of like rushing, so then when we got there it was like quick and we left. They were honestly like, did you guys not like us? Were you okay? Travis didn't look like himself. He didn't seem like the guy on the podcast. They thought you were like an asshole.
Did they use that word? They
Without
thought
saying
I looked angry. And I was annoyed because I like to be punctual. I'm one of those people, if you're on time, you're late. You need to be early.
Yeah.
So the fact that we were rushing and then I knew that was going to eat away at our small window.
Yeah.
I smiled in the pictures.
They were like, did y'all get into a fight? Did something happen? And we might have bickered, but it was about being late. Yeah. Like nothing else happened. It was nothing major. And then once it was over, it was over. And the picture still came out beautiful.
It's a reminder for me to, especially for first impressions, to fake it.
Yeah, lay off the resting Mitch face.
I'm working on it.
Another interesting thing that happened for us this weekend, we met up with some fellow podcasters. So another interesting thing about being a part of this community is like, if there are people online doing similar things, they kind of big you up like, hey, what's up?
Then reach out.
Yeah.
And we met some fellow, what's the word for New Jersey? Is it New Jerseyans?
I guess. I don't know. I ain't repping New Jersey that hard yet. But so when we first started this journey, a podcast called Shit Talk Fridays reached out and they were like, oh my God, you're like our podcasting twins. Like, you know, very similar vibes. And throughout this year, we've kept in contact through social media, but we finally met. And they said, y'all are like the younger version of us. So we're all exactly 10 years apart. So Gina's 10 years older than me. Evo's 10 years older than Travis. And we have very similar stories in our relationship, our marriage. So it was really cool to hang out with people like that. They
do not look 10 years older than us.
Not at all.
It's, if anything, it's a reminder that I need to get my shit together because...
Yo, Evo is ripped. Like...
I'm just honestly, body aside, their face, they just both look.
But don't you think it goes hand in hand? If you're taking care of your body, it's going to reflect in your skin.
But
and
back to that body.
Those biceps, Evo.
That's funny.
Yeah, and Gina was just, it's funny because she's a Capricorn, right? But in us talking, we're so much alike.
You believe in that?
Well, you know, I believe in some parts of it. Yeah, okay. Why not? Travis,
I would have never married you if I knew that.
But I find a lot of women who are like me tend to also be Geminis.
Okay.
Like in terms of my leadership skills, let's put it in those terms. The way that, you know, my socialness, my likability, my approachability. But she's a Capricorn, and apparently Capricorn women are like Gemini women. I didn't know that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't come for me in the comments. I'm not too well versed in the horoscope lane, but it was cool. And sometimes people might have the misconception, or maybe it happens that two personalities that are too similar could bump heads. And honestly, I'm like in need of more friends that are like me, that take charge, that are leaders, that are the host. I'm like the mom, the host. Like, no, I want friends like that too.
I think as much as you enjoy doing those things, you also enjoy being able to take a backseat.
Yeah.
And there's a balance, or you hope that there can be a balance.
Yeah, exactly. So it was really nice. And their daughter got along with Eli like well.
They're like a month apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're the same age, a month apart.
Yeah, they're already playing Fortnite together, so that it was really nice. Makes me want to put ourselves out there more, just like to fellow podcasters. I think that's like our second podcast couple. No, third.
Don't put me on the spot. I'm forgetting.
So we have JoJo and Dyra. Kevin and Yaretsi.
Yep.
And now Evo and Gina.
Yeah.
Am I forgetting anyone?
I don't know. Don't put me on the spot.
I'm so sorry.
If we forgot you, we love you.
Mouse and Mac. No.
Mouse and Mac. Yeah. Something else with all these different like parents and stuff that we're meeting, it's like we're meeting people who haven't figured it out in parenthood, but they're doing the work to be better than the generation before, you know? And although we don't all agree on all of our parenting styles, we respect each other and give each other the space to like be better. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And I think every parent knows what works best for their kid. And there are things that we hear that other parents do. And although we know it would never work for our kid, we can respect that they know what's best.
Yeah. And there's a common theme of respect, of openness, of communication that I'm seeing amongst our friends who are parents that like I just love. One thing that Tabitha had asked us, like, do we have like a lot of friends that we could go to and talk to about parenting? And I feel like that circle is growing. Also about marriage. It's like tough, and it's like no. And even though we have a lot of married friends, it's still very hard.
It's still taboo.
Yeah.
To even bring your problems to other people, because one thing I was taught from day one, you fix your problems with your wife and no one else.
Yeah. And
we both have discovered that with time that could be really problematic, depending on the problem, depending on the level of seriousness.
Yeah. But again, I feel like we're growing a nice group of married friends that we're able to have those conversations amongst each other, and it's not as taboo. And it's funny, the other day, did I tell this story already? I feel like I told someone the story, but you had like woke me up in the morning, and then I turned and I kind of was smiling because I remembered something. And then you were like, why are you smiling? And I didn't want to tell you what I was smiling about, but I also couldn't lie. So I'm like, I'm smiling about something I said to my friend Ashley, but you can't know.
And then I said, just tell me.
Just tell me. And I'm like, no, you can't know. So
Ashley, she didn't tell me.
I didn't. It's one of those things like a married friend, and we were able to discuss something that like another married person will get in a non-judgy way, and it was like an insider that I just happened to remember in that moment. But it's the best, like when you have a friend who could relate to certain things.
Yeah. Do you think it's exclusive to marriage or just serious relationships?
Honestly, it's about anything, right? Because even with podcasting, having friends in that space is going to be so beneficial to us.
Yeah, we were talking about things with Evo and Gina yesterday that I could never, or I don't want to say normal people who aren't into podcasting would be like, what the fuck are you talking to me about?
Gina even asked me something. She goes, you're the only person I could really ask this to. And it's like, wow, like how freeing is that you have someone else that can relate to something. So I think that applies in anything.
Yeah.
In any creative space, relationship space, parenting,
finding common ground is important.
Absolutely. And also respecting each other's individuality in those common spaces, right? Because just because we're both married doesn't mean our relationships run the same way.
Yeah.
All right. Did you know?
Did you know? I am never ready for did you know?
You could have just left this, so as soon as you unlocked your phone, it was just there.
Did you know? Did you know we are attracted to those who look and or smell similar to one of our parents?
What the
As creepy as this sounds, a partner who looks similar to one of your parents is found to be comforting. If you are a female and your father wore certain cologne, it is a familiar and comforting scent. This makes sense, but let's not get crazy.
I feel like this kind of just reminds me of another one we talked about. Like, you're kind of attracted to people that look like you. So your parents kind of resemble you in a sense.
But like for me, I can see like her father looks really similar to Morris Chestnut. And obviously, when you look at me, I'm giving chocolate Morris Chestnut vibes. So I can see how there could be some correlation to that statement.
Anyway, back to reality. Back to reality over here. I will say it reminds me of some of our maybe tough conversations we've had about like how sometimes I expect you to be like my dad. So it's not related to looks, but maybe just personality or expectations of a man, quote unquote. Like, what is a man supposed to bring to a relationship? My father set a certain example that sometimes maybe isn't the best, you know? So I can see that. Looks wise, I feel like it might have the same correlation or connection to the previous discussion we have about being attracted to people that look like you. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally see that. I don't think it holds true for us. Like, I don't think you look like my mom.
I hope not.
That'd be weird.
That would be weird.
And then as far as your father, I could see some similarities there in personality.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely personality. I have some similarities. Resting Mitch face.
Work ethic.
Good work ethic. Chill. Don't really go out.
Does he eat fast?
Nah, he's the type that his food would get cold by the time he sits to eat it, because he's just like doing other things. He also likes to make sure everybody ate before he eats. He's like that kind of guy. Travis is like,
serve me first.
Yeah. Nah, my dad's not like that. He's very like, laid back and chill. He'll like eat a whole bag of oranges and fruits. Like, if there's no more dinner, like, he doesn't care. He's mad chill. Are there things that sometimes you kind of look for? Like, you know how I talked about personality wise with my dad? Do you ever sometimes have those mommy issues, like things your mom did for you that you expect me to do for you?
No, I don't.
No.
I can't even think. I guess I was pretty, I don't know if spoiled's the right word, but I did get everything I ever wanted. But I was also low maintenance at the same time. So what the things I wanted weren't like breaking the bank. So I expect you to be able to do those same things for me.
Yeah, right.
What about me?
Nah. I feel like earlier on, if I was a little bit more of a submissive type, you probably would have enjoyed me being a little bit like your mom in regard to like cooking you the things you like or cleaning up after you. And I don't know, in that sense, like taking care of you more like a mom in that sense. But I kind of was resisting that. Like, you're going to learn how to clean this toilet and I'm going to cook and you're going to eat what I make.
I think you kind of lean into it now.
How so?
Like, I feel And there's nothing wrong with it. But I also, I do feel like you do take care of me. I do feel like you clean up after me. And it's not always, but I know I can count on you to back me up.
Yeah, but I feel like I do so that we work as a cohesive unit in the family. You know what I mean? So you have to leave the house at 5 a.m. 3 days out the week. So I'm going to make sure that you get to bed early, you have something to eat in the morning, you have food to take to work, and your clothes are ironed, because what you're doing is providing to maintain our household. You know what I mean? But if you were just like chilling all day and playing video games, I wouldn't be like, oh, let me take care of him. Does that make sense?
So don't get fired.
Pretty much.
Things will get real different real fast.
And I feel like because we have mutual respect, that in me taking care of you is not I'm being submissive. It's more so I'm playing my role to maintain our home, because that's the way it works.
Yeah.
Not because that's what I have to do as a woman, but that's just the way the cards have fallen in our household.
And even so, like, let's say I see like the kitchen's a hot mess. I'm just going to suck it up and clean it, because in my head, it's going to make me happier, because we're going to be able to go to bed together. There's no reality where I go to bed and leave you cleaning.
Yeah.
It's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
You have done it once or twice, and I've always hated it.
Like when I'm like, I'm in the mood to clean, like I'm going to just stay up and do this.
I always hate it, because as corny as it is, I need my wife to go to bed. Like, it's just, it's like my teddy bear. I need her. So if I see that, I'm like, all right, if I don't do that now, that's going to be another 30 minutes that we can't be in bed together. So let me knock it out so that when we are, winding down for the night, we can go into the bedroom together, and it's not me just like twiddling my thumbs waiting for you to be done.
And also, when I was working, that was just a given. I cook, you clean the kitchen. Now that I don't have a traditional job, I'm home, I try to cook and clean up mostly before you even get home. So then at the end of the night, it's just like clean up, touch up stuff. But that's just because of the way things are, our current situation. And that might change again. We never know.
Yeah. Like if you just get like a big lump sum of money, you're going to act different.
No, baby.
Okay.
I meant like if I went back into the traditional workforce, then we have to change things up. But I feel like because we had so many years of like splitting things, it just makes it easier. Like we're still splitting things. It's just the loads are different, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That reminds me that we also had a conversation of looking at this podcast as like another big part of our responsibilities, right? So when we're done recording this, you're going to spend some time on the editing, on the uploading, on the visual imaging for this episode. That's part of a responsibility to our family, right? So while you're doing that, I might be preparing a meal. I might be bathing the kids. I might be washing dishes, starting the laundry. And I have to remind myself that those are equally important to our household,
The things I'm doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
That they're equal, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're on the computer and I'm doing dishes and I might be annoyed, right? Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm doing dishes, he's on the computer, but you're on the computer editing the podcast, uploading the podcast, doing those things. And I'm like, that's another equal responsibility to our family right now. So I can't look at them as like one's more, like, what is the word? Like you want to do one more than the other.
Beneficial?
Not beneficial, but I don't know, whatever. They're both things that need to be done for our family. And it's something I can't do. I don't know how to edit the videos and do that stuff yet. That's not in my toolkit. So you have to use your strengths and I have to use mine, and that's okay.
Yeah. I do feel guilty sometimes. Like I'll be sitting there and I know like a lot of time has passed. Mm-hmm. I'm like, fuck. I know at any minute you're going to be like, babe, what's going on?
Yeah, because sometimes in us doing our responsibilities, we're so distracted by these little devices that control our lives, our cell phones. I want all of you right now to go into your settings, I'm gonna do it now so I could like know exactly how to find it. Go to settings and go to screen time. And at the top is going to tell you your daily average of how many minutes you spend on your phone. And although it's only Sunday, my average, y'all going to think I'm joking, but it's 3 hours and 33 minutes. So 333. Ooh. But if this was showing me yesterday, I know it would have looked horrible because it was a whole week's. It's up there sometimes 6 hours.
Do you feel like, and we've been having a lot of conversations about our cell phone usage recently. I think, yes, I agree. There are times where it can come off a little ridiculous at the moments we're on the phone, right? But we also, in deciding to do this podcast, we do have to be connected.
And that's true. But that is often used as an excuse. Like, we could fall back on that. We're like, I use my phone a lot because I'm a podcaster. I have to stay connected. Maybe 20% of our actual phone usage is related to the podcast. It's looking at memes, it's sharing shit, it's
I need to see
scrolling. I check my email like 100 times a day. For what reason?
I need to see this girl twerking for research purposes.
Exactly. So my point is, we need to check ourselves, right? So yeah, Travis is working on the podcast as his computer, but could he have gained an extra hour of family time if he had put his phone in the other room or, been more disciplined to do it, which is hard. Like last week, I put 2 days of like, I blocked my Instagram because I'm like, what the fuck? It's just way too much time. Even on the days, Travis will spend 12 hours out of the house and I'm home with the kids, and that's a lot in itself. But I'm like, I could have had dinner ready and the kitchen cleaned if I spent less time on my phone today. Or I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to do multiplication with Eli today. If I had used my cell phone or Instagram for 30 minutes less, I could have squeezed in that time.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that we don't all deserve that leisure, that time of just scrolling through your phone or just watching an episode on Netflix or whatever. We all need that. But time goes by quick if you don't check it.
Yeah, it always surprised me. Like, let's say I get home like around 5:30, and before I blink, it's time to figure out going to bed.
Yeah. Especially if you're waking up at 4:30 the next day. You get home by 5:30. Ideally, we want to be in bed no later than 9:30. Those 4 hours will fly by. And if 2 of them was just like this, scrolling, it's a waste of our time. Like 100% waste of our time.
Big facts.
How do you even get there? What were we even talking about? Productivity, you using whatever. Did you go on your settings? Did you check your screen time? Do better this week.
I think I got an alert. Mine was like 6 hours last week.
That's a lot.
It is? Oh, average.
Average. That means every single day, 6 hours you're on your phone. So let's say you're working 8 hours, which is really 9 because you don't count your lunch break. So 9 hours plus 6 hours. When's family time?
True.
When's I'm gonna take care of my body. I'm gonna give myself 30 minutes to stretch, to work out.
I would say 3 of those hours are commuting. Just saying, giving myself some grace here.
What do you mean? Oh, like on the commute, you're just on your phone.
I tried to bring my Switch, and I just can't get into it. But
and that's fine, right? But look at this. Every single day, you spend 3 hours on a commute. What if you were teaching yourself a skill during those 3 hours a day instead of mindlessly on Instagram?
What type of skill?
I don't know, a different editing technique for the videos, for Instagram, for something like that.
Just really quick before I forget, I want to say shout out to you.
Shout out to me for what?
Because Stephanie, for a long time, I would say for this whole year that we've been podcasting, if you scroll through all our reels, it's just been, this is what you're going to get. It's a cut. Stephanie talks, I cut. Sometimes you might get like a splice of a random video. Stephanie has really pushed me to like step it up and just try new things. And I'm really happy with how they look. And I hope you all are noticing. So these last 3 reels, I think, are courtesy of my lovely wife saying, do better.
But that just reminds me. Well, first of all, I feel like there's a theme in Travis' life about when he does better is because I pushed him, but right. I will say that took time. The first time you made that reel using this new strategy, new technique that you learned, you spent some time on the computer. That same amount of time would have got wasted scrolling through Instagram. You know, there's a YouTube university. If there's something digitally in the video editing world and the podcast editing world and the podcast marketing world that you want to learn something about, you could spend an hour watching a YouTube video about that instead of just looking at the same fucking memes over and over.
Yeah. I often think about that. Like when I always end up having like this laundry list of things to do, right? Mm-hmm. And then once I write them all out and I knock one out, knock the other. And then by the time I'm done, I'm like, that took no time at all.
Like I could have been did this shit. And what you think prevented you from doing them before?
It's just like a mental barrier, honestly.
Is it? You don't think you could figure out something that stops you from doing the things you need to do?
No idea. Yeah, it has something to do with the phone, or more so social media. I'm working on it. Yeah. I am a work in progress.
It's a distraction.
Yeah. It's not all bad, because look at all the things we talked about in the beginning of this episode. That's due to the power of social media.
Yeah. I will say that we have to start being more intentional. So this isn't the first time we spoke about our phones being a distraction. We've talked about setting limits and doing things, and we never commit to it. We never hold ourselves accountable to having limits. So I feel like we need to. Another thing is we have our Apple Watches, right? So like if we leave our phones in one room, like if anything really important happen, we'll get notified. There's no need. Like we literally go from our bedroom to the bathroom to the kitchen to the living room with our phone. If we forget in one room, we're like this. We're touching, we're looking. Where's my phone? Where's my phone? It's an addiction. Even those days that I didn't have Instagram active, you know how many times I opened my phone to check Instagram and then remembered like, oh shit, it's locked.
You know how many times like I know the pattern to get to where the app is, and don't let me like misorganize. I'm like, oh, whoa, something's wrong here. My swipe pattern's off.
It's definitely bad.
One last thing on the phone thing. It's just funny. This morning I couldn't find my phone and I used my watch and it was in my left pocket. I was like, where's my phone? Where's my phone?
And it was right there in your pocket the whole time. Insanity. So before we get into our next topic, I wanted to do a quick recap on Patreon. What is Patreon? I feel like sometimes people don't get what it is. Really quickly, it's a platform to support creators. We do not get paid for this podcast. We enjoy it. We love it. It takes a lot of time. So if you want to show us appreciation, Patreon's a way for you to help us with monetary contributions. Right now, we have a $3 tier. That's just a tip. It's just to give us $3 a month. Then we have a $7 and $12 tier that gives you extra content, vlogs, other things like that. Go on our Patreon to check it out. We're going to leave the link.
Yep, patreon.com/we still like each other.
Mm-hmm. But if you can't commit, you don't want to give us $3 a month, $7 a month, $12 a month for a year, you don't have to. You could do it for 1 month and then cancel it. We've had people who say like, I'm going to just join to give you a donation, but I can't keep up every month. That's totally fine as well. So yeah, check out our Patreon and let us know if you have any questions.
Yes, sir.
All right. So this topic, we've kind of had to push it off for a couple of weeks because so many other things kept happening. But like 6 different people sent it to us and said, y'all have to talk about this on your podcast. So I'm going to call this the dedication post gone wrong. So this lovely man who shall not be named wanted to celebrate his partner. And this was how he worded it. You're not the most beautiful woman. Neither are you the most intelligent woman.
Hold on. Is that the title? Oh, that's how he started it?
That's how he started it.
Risky move, brother. All right.
But Like I've never chosen to find perfection in anyone else. I put my gaze on you, and with that commitment, we would mold ourselves for ourselves. Our perfection is in our commitment. He literally said, I don't like perfection, so I settled for you.
I'm going to hold judgment till the end. It's a wild boy.
Why? What's wild about it?
This is risky, but let me see. Maybe sometimes, you start off a little shaky, but maybe he's going to bring us back.
I just feel like clearly we can't be so egotistical or self-centered that we think we're the most beautiful, the most intelligent people, right? But Travis is like, nah, I know I'm the hottest guy ever in the world.
I don't think I'm the hottest guy in the world, but when I look in the mirror, I like what I see.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is you understand that you aren't, like the way you view me, I don't think everybody views me that way because I'm your person. Oh, God. What?
I think if you walk into a room, there's going to be a lot of eyes on you. I
mean, everybody. You get what I'm saying? Or you ever look at someone you don't find attractive at all?
Yes.
And you're like, someone likes them. They're attracted
that
to
happens
somebody,
all the time.
right?
I'll see a couple and I'm like, good for them.
Exactly. So my point is, everybody, there's someone out there for everybody. You don't think you're the most beautiful, most intelligent person in the world. That's just because different strokes for different folks, right?
Yes.
But your person, to you in your eyes, should be the most beautiful person and the most intelligent person in the world to you.
You are the most mid woman.
That's basically what he told her. You're so average. You're
perfect.
Lucky. You're lucky I settled for you. You're lucky I don't like perfection.
Your imperfections are beautiful.
No,
not even that.
That's like, okay. That makes sense. Because that's like, yeah, I'm not perfect.
Even when trying not to be smooth, I'm still smooth.
Oh my God, I'm dead. So then he says, stating that you are not the most beautiful, intelligent might sound like it's not a compliment, but it's a realistic base for real love. So there could only be real love if the person isn't the most beautiful and the most intelligent. I don't understand. Acknowledging that my woman isn't the best, but I'm not looking for the best. Oh my God, that made it worse. I'm acknowledging she's not that beautiful, but that's okay. I don't want the most beautiful.
Keep on digging, brother.
Oh my God. I was looking for you and I found you. Okay. There's no best. There is just someone you choose and see the best in them.
That's cool.
Okay. This to me is the real love, not the one that consoles itself in the full reality that their partner is the most good looking, most intelligent, most successful person in the world.
I get what he's trying to say. But there's ways to say it without saying your partner's mid.
Yeah.
And for, I'm stealing lingo from the young folk. Mid is like mid is bad. So like if I say like, I don't know, this bear is mid, that means it's all right. Is it done?
It's like one more thing. It says, that's disingenuous and doesn't give room for love to thrive. I love you. I'm committed to you. I miss you so much, but my love for you is stronger than distance. So that's done.
I was going to try and read it and fix it.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So you're not the most beautiful woman. How would I remix that? You are the most beautiful woman in this world. And the most intelligent woman. And I'm so happy I found perfection in you. I put my gaze on you, and with that commitment, we mold ourselves for ourselves. Our perfection is in our commitment. Stating that you are the most beautiful, intelligent might sound narcissistic, but it's a reality of our relationship. acknowledging that my woman is the best is what the fuck I'm here for. I was looking for you and I found you.
That's better. I like that.
There's no best, but you're the best. This is, to me, is the real love, not the one that consoles itself in this faux reality. Oh.
Listen, so there's a point that could be made here. There's a lot of people who are still single because they have this false expectation of what real love is, right? Their idea of love is probably too attached to this idea of a perfect person. That might be looks-wise, that might be intellect, that might be success. So I can see that. Like if we're stuck on trying to find the most successful, the most beautiful, the most intelligent, we're going to be stuck with no one, right? I get that. But I feel like there's something nasty about someone who talks to their partner that way. I feel like he's implanting seeds of insecurity in her head to make her feel like you're lucky that I accepted you in this mid-level.
It's like what's that word? Like a third degree of manipulation here.
Yeah. Like reminding you that you ain't that cute, you ain't that smart, but I took you in. And I loved you despite how mid you are. But you get what I'm saying? Like, it just sounds real nasty, real manipulative. And like, he's a narcissist. Like, I could have done better, but I didn't.
Because, yeah, this was a fail. This wasn't, yes, we can dig deeper and see the things he's talking about. Mm-hmm. But overall, he failed.
Yeah.
He took a shot, missed.
Yeah.
And he's doubling down because he knows what people, he even goes, I know people will say. It's wrong and strong.
Absolutely. Wrong and strong. Don't do that. Take it from us. Don't ever write a public post about your partner saying they're not the most beautiful.
Okay. But what would you say? There's some people who will be honest and say, you know, my partner isn't the most attractive, but that's not why I'm attracted to them. Like, they're not the most physically attractive. Because I do think that can happen. There are a lot of funny men who find themselves with some beautiful women because they're funny. Yeah.
But I feel like in that, their personality brings out a level of attractiveness to that partner, right? So like if I'm with somebody because they're so funny, but physically they don't look like the type of guys I used to date, now this person I'm going to be physically attracted to. They are going to be my type because I'm drawn to them.
Gotcha.
So I wouldn't find myself verbalizing like, you know, he's not cute, but he's funny. Like I would never say that. Like, does that make sense?
I get it.
Like I would never find myself saying
like
that.
So you're basically like your definition of what's attractive is ever evolving.
Yeah, it's like I've always said, like I don't have a type. Like I'm attracted to people and personalities. Like I don't think I have like like a checklist of like
Same.
What I like in a person. Like it's just not me. Besides like hygiene, maybe that's like a requirement. But in terms of like 6 feet, dark skin, you know, like that.
Keep going.
I don't have a checklist, is what I've always said.
I thought you were describing me.
He was supposed to be 6 feet.
My scoliosis got me.
But yeah. So no matter what, even if you end up with someone who's not your typical looks wise, you're never going to tell them like, you know, you're not that cute, but I'm so happy I met you. Like what? Who says that?
Yeah. I think it's our responsibility when we decide to be with someone to be their biggest cheerleader. And I'm not saying lie, but I'm saying if you decide to be with someone, that you're taking on everything that comes with them.
You know what? This reminds me of something I was thinking about earlier. This applies to even your friends. You have to be careful for like friends you're around that kind of joke about your insecurities. Like, I don't like that shit. Like, underhanded, like if you're talking about how tall and slim I am, or how big my feet are, or about whatever. Like, if there's a friend that's always joking about your insecurities, like, that shit ain't funny.
Listen, well, you don't want to be a man, because that's literally all we do.
Yeah.
My skin is thick the way it is because men have been ragging on me my whole life. And it's just a part, like,
Okay.
it's just part of the game. Like, you just got to accept it. Don't be going bald around your men friends because they will let you know.
Okay, so I guess it's different for men and women.
Yeah. Any men who listen to this podcast, y'all know.
And it also depends on how close y'all are.
It don't matter with men.
I feel like for me, like, there's this thing, in Spanish you say confianza, but like basically
I got confidence.
Confidence is the literal translation, but it's not how it's used. Okay. Like, it means like, we ain't that cool for you to be joking about my insecurities. Like, I might joke about like my fucking chicken legs with my friends, but then some girl I don't know be like, oh, you and your chicken legs. I'll be like, don't get fucked up.
Here we go.
We ain't that cool to have those jokes, you know? So I feel like there's certain people that I could joke with, but then if I don't know you like that, like, chill. No, men, y'all be wilding.
It's different.
Y'all be roasting each other.
Honestly, my family was pretty bad too growing up. I used to say when I was in school, like, people would try and make jokes like, oh, big head or whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to come harder, because my family is like talking about, that's why your dad cheated on your mom.
Oh my God. Yo, that's terrible. I don't know if I ever said this on this podcast, but I think I've told you that I didn't realize you had a big head at first.
Neither did they.
So I don't remember when it first came up in conversation.
Why are we talking about that?
I'm sorry.
I got a big head because I got a big head daddy and a big head grandmother.
Grandma, you got your grandma's head.
But I'm still handsome.
Yeah. But like, it wasn't something I noticed.
Still going.
I'm sorry. But you know, it's even your deep voice. Like, I never noticed your voice was deep until other people were saying it. I'm like, I guess it is deep. All right. I was trying to save it. I was trying to fix it.
The voice. I never noticed your dick was big until other people were saying it.
That'll fix it. Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. All right. So he failed. Moving on to the next topic. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was this reel we made when Lorraine talks about doing the work is ugly, right? Communicating in your relationships isn't sexy. So that unsexy part, it came out about, specifically if you want to talk about sex, it's not sexy. It's uncomfortable, right? Especially because in society, it's been ingrained in us that our partners should read our mind. They should know how to please us, especially sexually, on instinct. It should be innate, right? Which is false. But I wanted to talk about other conversations that have been difficult for us to have been difficult for us to bring up to one another, and that are still kind of difficult, maybe even. Can you think of any?
Right. You kind of brought it up as an example, but, you know, the sex conversation for us was pretty tough. You know, there were, I guess my way of initiating sex was poorly delivered. And, you know, when we finally started to have those conversations, it took a turn for the better. And it's one of those conversations that's ever evolving. Like, sometimes we have to revisit it. But initially that was tough. It was tough to hear certain things, or tough to hear things from you.
What was tough to hear? Just
like,
it's tough to say it. You don't have to say it.
Even like how sex was initiated. You know, sometimes it just be like, I'm ready to go. You better be ready to go type thing. And I would never say that, but it was almost implied with my actions.
Okay. Why was that uncomfortable to hear?
Because you just want the person you're with to just see you as like, I just want you to be dripping all the time. Just like, I want you as bad
like in me saying, I'm not ready to go, like you're ready to go all the time. Did that make you feel like maybe I don't find you attractive?
Like you thought my head was too big. And not that head.
Not the right head. Yeah, no. So that's another misconception, right? Sexual desire and attraction, they might go hand in hand a lot of the times, but no. So it's like, just because I'm not ready to have sex with you right now doesn't mean I'm not attracted to you. I find you attractive, but sexual desire is totally different, right?
And I get that now.
Yeah, because even like I could look at a random person in the street and I could be like, that's an attractive person. That doesn't mean I want to fuck them. You know what I mean? Even like when you meet, like we were talking about how men can appreciate another man as being an attractive person. That doesn't mean they want to fuck that person.
Well, not all men can do that.
I'm sorry, not all men could appreciate another man being attractive.
Yeah. Okay. Without being like, oh, pause. You cute, bro.
Yeah. Or even that could also manifest insecurities, right? Like if you hear your partner say someone else is attractive, you might be like, oh my God, like you're supposed to only find me attractive, which is weird as fuck.
Or on the flip side,
what?
If you hear your partner say someone's attractive, and you're like, this person's clearly ugly.
Am I ugly?
What the fuck is going on right now?
Who's someone that mainstream media finds attractive that you're like, I don't see it?
Cardi, Doja.
You think mainstream people find Cardi attractive?
Okay, maybe not.
I feel like people aren't like, oh my God, Cardi looks so
Justin
good.
Bieber's wife.
Oh, yeah.
Kylie Jenner.
Nah, Kylie Jenner's a baddie.
Nah, her you seen her face lately? She's aging like milk. Just named 2 white women.
You know what I was going to say? You know who my person is? Since I was a little girl? Jennifer Aniston.
I knew you were going to say that.
I never got it. I used to be like, how? And then when I was growing up, she was like, most beautiful woman in the world.
I think, listen, we know that sometimes there's a narrative that's forced down our throat.
She was forced.
There's a lot of people who they force down our throat. Like even when sometimes I'll see like the sexiest man and you be like, this mid-looking dude. Like,
oh my God. Y'all gonna beat me up for this? Y'all know the guy. You know the guy who I'm like, I don't see it. Michael B. Jordan.
Ooh.
Everybody loves him. And I'm just like he's good looking, but I'm not like, oh my God. Like,
it's to the point where I don't even know if he's good looking anymore, but everyone says he is. So I'm like, I guess he's a good looking guy. Like, there's something wrong with me. I don't.
Oh, so this is us getting sidetracked again. We were talking about tough conversations. And I did want to make the point, like, it's normal for your partner to find other people attractive. I will find it weird if Travis didn't ever find anyone else attractive. Like, you kind of creepy.
To what extent do you think it's okay for me to be vocal about it?
I guess it depends, right? So we have a more like open relationship in terms of talking about attraction. Like you might see a girl on Instagram or on the street. Like we went to this beer garden. There was this lady with like huge tits. And we both kind of looked at each other, was like, yo, you saw them titties? But it's like, hello, we just knew, right?
Things were thangin'.
But let's say I had an insecurity about my breasts. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's not something you would want to be like, yo, babe, you see them tits? You get what I'm saying? I also find it weird. Not weird, but it could become a problem if you're constantly acknowledging the same type as attractive, right? Like the women who look like Kylie Jenner, the fake lips, the fake butt, the no stomach, long dark hair, and all the women you mention are attractive look like that, who look nothing like me. It becomes to feel like...
yeah, eyebrow will raise.
Yeah, like, do you like me at all? You know what I'm saying? So I guess it depends. But your partner's supposed to be attracted to other people. That's just natural.
Yeah.
And being attracted does not mean they go flirt with people or talk to people, disrespect you, or... That's different. But just attraction is human.
I did give you permission to get a girlfriend the other day.
Oh, he did. Travis gave me permission. Why? Why you said I could get a girlfriend?
And I said, I don't have to have anything to do with it. It'll just be your thing.
But why? What's the benefit for you?
They have to live here and clean. Whatever activities y'all do when the doors are closed, that's y'all business.
Yeah, I can't remember what was happening, but basically it was a crazy day. The baby was acting nuts.
And the house was a mess.
The house was a mess. And I'm like, you see how hard it is to like take care of the baby and have everything done in the house? It's like really hard. He goes, all right, you have permission. Get a girlfriend. Go ahead. Do what you got to do.
No jealousy whatsoever. Just want a clean home.
All right. So any other tough conversations? I'll go. You just went.
Okay.
I feel like for me, one of the toughest conversations we have and we continue to have is when it comes to parenting.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Because it's like if I want to bring up something that I think you should do better, I don't ever want you to think that I don't believe you're a great father, right? But just like in relationships, just because there's something I want you to do better, it doesn't mean I don't think you're a great husband and a great partner. It's just there's some room for improvement in certain things. The same thing happens in parenting. And it's like, I don't want you to ever feel like you're not a great dad just because I want you to do something differently.
And I've shaken that. Those earlier conversations were definitely tough. But I don't take it as like you're micromanaging. I take it as you want me to be the best version of myself for our kids. Mm. And if you have a front row seat to my life. Other than myself, you get to see me more than anyone in this world. Yeah. And there's things you see that I do or don't do, the little nuances about myself. Mm-hmm. So who better to call me out on my shit than you? So although it's never a fun conversation. It's never like, oh, tell me I'm ready. Mm-hmm. But I appreciate it that you don't let me spiral.
Yeah. Doesn't make it easier.
Doesn't make it easier. And it's one of our ongoing conversation is probably going to be parenting.
Yeah. It's hard because we're in a place where I'm going to speak for myself. I'm like, I want to do things so much better than like how I grew up, or I want to change this, that. And it's like, I want to do too much sometimes. Like sometimes I don't know how to just chill and coast. The same way I feel like sometimes we waste times on our phones. I'm like, I'm wasting opportunities with our kids, like I can't believe Eli's already 8. Like, holy shit. Yeah. Like how much time do we have left? Like we need to pack in all these experiences and all these things. And we have all these messaging about parenting and what kids need and how they could be well-rounded. And it's like, there's not enough time in the world to follow all the good parenting advice online.
You think you follow those things? I feel like we're kind of paving our own way.
We are paving our own way, but I do take inspiration sometimes online. Like sometimes I'll read something that I'm like, oh shit, that makes sense. And I could use it for guidance.
I don't mind advice, but I definitely don't follow like other parents who are just posting their highlight reels.
Yeah,
like, I don't get caught up in that. Like, kudos to all those people. Like if you take your kid to Disney, or if you're at the library reading with your child, I know that that's an isolated situation, and there's a lot of mess that you're not showing us.
Yeah.
So I don't get caught up in that, and I think that's important for people to note. That when you're looking at other parents and it's just like, oh, they're so perfect, or their husband is outside playing catch with the kids, you don't see all the mess that led up to that moment. Yeah. That picture perfect moment. Mm-hmm. So just keep that in mind if you're ever comparing yourself or your partner to people on the internet.
Yeah. And it's also not people on the internet responsibility to show you their mess. But we just have to think more critically and understand that people are posting what they want to post, and try not to compare your lives so much to theirs, and take inspiration. Like, hello, social media, we wouldn't be here without social media, right? Like it has its purpose, and we want people to take from us what applies for them, but you still have to find your own way. Yeah, babe. I think that's it. You ready to pay some bills?
Pay them bills.
We gotta pay some bills. Okay, I'm sorry. My phone locked. I feel like Travis.
Oh my God, never ready.
So this week, our episode is sponsored by Rags and Relics. So a lot of people always talk about my style. I do kind of dress a little funky, a little out there, a little colorful. And so many of my pieces, including the shirt that I'm wearing today, is from Rags and Relics. That's RAGZANDRELICS.com. And Lauren, who's a small business owner, she thrifts all of the pieces that she sells. And every Thursday, she drops a new collection. So if you go to the website now and you don't see anything you like, trust me, it might be there on Thursday. Follow her on Instagram and you're going to find one-of-a-kind pieces that are secondhand. So you're also doing something good for the environment.
That's how she justifies the swiping of the credit card.
No, but seriously, we entered a space where I was like, I have so much stuff. And I really try to avoid fast fashion. Like I've never bought anything from Fashion Nova. I've never bought anything from Shein. I'm still a consumer. I love sneakers. I love clothes, but I feel like switching some of my pieces to secondhand has helped me feel a little bit better about my love for clothes and fashion. So check out ragsandrelics.com.
Yeah. And as someone, I love the whole vintage scene, but I understand that it is a different type of animal. And going to these places, and it's not as easy as you're just going to walk into a vintage store and find a fire piece.
Or sometimes you go to thrift stores and it's like you don't know how to search through it, right? Or you'll go to a reselling store, but they're selling things at like ridiculous prices, like $300 for like a freaking Budweiser t-shirt. Like, yeah. No.
So my favorite part about Rags and Relics is that she curates basically the hunt.
Yeah, she already went through the thrift store and picked out what was good from it, so you didn't have to.
And it's not at ridiculous prices.
Exactly.
I have this fire Pebbles and Bam Bam t-shirt on the way. I can't wait. But yeah, ragsandrelics.com. Check them out. Mm-hmm. It's fire. We love her. We love what she does.
She's great. Yeah.
Bills
are paid.
So, baby.
Daddy.
Do you still like me?
I still like you, Daddy.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.